basement of La Penta. This is WICR.
Hello everyone, Jersey Joe back in action, and it is time to continue breaking down the NBA. Kind of had to devote an entire segment to LeBron. He's the king, so he gets his own segment, and now we're kind of going to continue. Obviously, the Clippers are now the new hot team in the NBA playoffs, and rightfully so with how dominant they were. I mean, especially last night, winning 128-95 over the Rockets. I mean, just the headliner, DeAndre Jordan, 26 points and 17 rebounds. Now, look, I'm not the biggest DeAndre Jordan fan in the world because, look, he's a limited away from the basket, and the guy cannot hit free throws for his life. But, I mean, look, he does his job, and he does his job extraordinarily well. He creates a lot of matchup problems, and certainly last night he gave them a ton. Blake Griffin has been outstanding in this series, and I always talk about guys on this show who really show you, when you look at them from the year they came into the NBA to where they are now, how much have they improved their game. Blake Griffin is absolutely one of those guys. For a long part of his career, again, he was like DeAndre Jordan. He could not play away from the basket. He had no outside shot. He wasn't a good free throw shooter. He has worked on his game, and I give him a ton of credit for that, because let's compare for a minute a guy like Blake to a guy like Dwight Howard. And a guy like Dwight Howard, I'll be honest, you look at Dwight Howard now and you look at him when he came into the NBA, same player, has not worked at his game enough, has not added enough elements to his game, cannot shoot free throws today, could not shoot free throws when he came into the NBA. I can't stand players like that who have extraordinary talent, but they don't improve. They don't add more pieces to his game. One of the things that is the reason why LeBron is my favorite player is because his motto is always in the offseason of adding more pieces to his game, adding more weapons to make him a more dynamic, versatile basketball player. That's what you need to do if you want to be a superstar in this league, and that's what things like Blake Griffin has continued to do. It's what guys like who you want to be great, you need to continually be adding the pieces, becoming a more effective player. Blake Griffin has absolutely done that. You saw he added more range last year. He's added even more range this year. He's a better free throw shooter, and he's commanding as a leader better. I'm a big fan of guys like Blake Griffin when I see stuff like that, and I don't like guys like Dwight Howard because I don't see things like that with him. And look, Blake has been fantastic. Look, this series is wrapped up, folks. It is. The Rockets have firepower. They have a shot. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to say that. They have the firepower to get in. It's possible, but it's not going to happen. It's just not. The Clippers are playing way too well right now. I really like, and one of the things that when this injury happened, I give my co-host Big Shot Rob a lot of credit because he nailed it, and I agree absolutely. When Patrick Beverley got hurt, that was it. That was really the piece in that key injury that was going to prevent the Rockets from really getting far in this playoff run. And again, Patrick Beverley is not a huge dynamic player, but he's a guy who does a lot of scrappy work, does a lot of dirty work, and really does a lot of those nitty-gritty things that the Rockets need. And if there's anything that the Rockets don't have, I think it's lacking toughness. Now, the Clippers, too, to an extent, but they have guys like Paul and they have guys like Griffin, and obviously when you have a coach like they do in Doc Rivers, it helps. But I don't think the toughness is, these are the necessarily the toughest teams out there. And when you need a guy like Patrick Beverley to set that tone and do that dirty, scrappy work. And he just is a guy who's a pest. He frustrates people. He's a guy who, again, is not going to put up the biggest numbers, is not going to make you really notice him a ton of times. But if you really watch closely, Patrick Beverley did a ton of important things for this Rockets team. And I think his loss, you've been seeing, is really affecting them. And obviously last night, it was just all Clippers. And I think right now, they are the team that I think a lot of people are expecting to come out of the West, especially with how Golden State has struggled with Memphis. And look, it's never a done deal with Golden State, but I certainly thought that they would have a better time than they're having now. a big thing that they're struggling with is the inside bigs of Memphis. We all know Memphis' offense revolves around three guys. It's Conley, it's Gasol, and it's Randolph. They're struggling tremendously getting the stops inside that they need. I thought that the pace of the Warriors, with how fast that they play, was going to be the thing that Memphis couldn't match, because Memphis is a little bit slower. They want to bang you around. They want to wear you down physically, but they've gone fast. They've shown in this series they don't need to do that. They can match the Warriors' speed. Tony Allen, look, a lot of people now are giving Tony Allen the credit he deserves, but if you watch the Grizzlies for a long time and you watch Tony Allen has been a very good basketball player. He's always been one of the best defensive players in the NBA. But now you're starting to see they are wearing, and this is why I worry when you get down in a series against Memphis. I'm starting to lose faith in you, because Memphis, like I said, they do a better job at wearing teams down than anyone in the NBA. The collective size that they have, the outstanding defense that they play, there's not a lot of teams, and there's not a lot of wiggle room, to get back in a series against Memphis. Now, again, Golden State, if anyone's going to do it, it can be them, because they're very well coached. They're an outstanding shooting team. And look, Stephen Curry has struggled as of late. Klay Thompson's shot hasn't been there consistently. Now Maurice Spates, I think he's got his injury, which is definitely a guy, again, not one of the most flashy guys, but he's got a very important role for the Warriors. He's kind of always does good, scrappy things on the floor for them, and it's a guy who I think has a big positive role for this team. Now you've got his injury. Things are a little shaky for the Warriors right now. I mean, I'm not counting them out like I am with the Rockets, and you shouldn't with the way that the series looks. But again, Memphis wears you down unlike anybody. When you start to get into this funk, and they just really can smell that scent, man, you're in trouble, because Tony Allen has not been slowed down one bit. He's been an incredible. I mean, I think this is, again, like I said, I've watched Tony Allen for a long time. I know what he can do defensively. He's outstanding. But I think this has been his best playoff series I've seen in the last 2-3 years. And then when you look at Gasol, and you look at Randolph, and you look at Conley, they know they have the pace of the Warriors figured out. They're going fast, and the Warriors are not being able to stop them inside. That's a big, big problem for them right now. And again, the shots just aren't falling enough consistently, and we will see how the series is going to pan out. But I think right now, Memphis and the Clippers is what we're starting to kind of see, and we'll see. Obviously, the Rockets, call it a done deal, basically, right now. The Clippers, with how well they're playing, it's really, really tough to see Houston being able to come back, and I don't think that they will. Golden State, I'm still giving them a shot, but I'm very, very worried for them if I'm a Warriors fan, because like I've said many, many times during my NBA playoff coverage, the Grizzlies are relentless. They wear you down. Even if you get out of a series against them, so much energy has been spent in that series against them. They're a nightmare to play. If I'm an NBA head coach, that is one of the last teams that I want to see and I want to face, because they present so many problems, and if I don't have the bigs to counter them, I have to figure out another game plan, because I am going to have a long day, and Steve Kerr has had a long day so far. But we don't have a long day on the Sports Vault. We have a short day, plenty of time to get into all the coverage, so stay with me. We'll be back with some NYCFC. What happened last night? Where is this club going? I'll tell you in a minute.